Iran confirms its navy seized tanker in Gulf of Oman that was boarded by men in military uniforms.
Here's a summary of the article.
Dubai, United Arab Emirates. Iran's navy seized an oil tanker on Thursday in the Gulf of Oman that once was at the center of a major crisis between Tehran and Washington, officials said, a seizure that further escalates tensions in the Mideast waterways. The violating oil tanker Suez Rajan stole Iranian oil by leading it to the Americans and delivered it to the Americans, state TV said. The British military's United Kingdom Maritime Trade Operations, which provides warnings to sailors in the Middle East, said Thursday's seizure began early in the morning in the waters between Oman and Iran in an area transit by ships coming in and out of the Strait of Hormuz, the narrow mouth of the Persian Gulf through which a fifth of all traded oil passes. The private security firm Amri said that 4 to 5 armed persons boarded the ship, which it identified as the oil tanker St. Nicholas. Attention began focusing on the Suez Rajan in February 2022. When the group United Against Nuclear Iran said it suspected the tanker carried oil from Iran's Khud Island, its main oil distribution terminal in the Persian Gulf. Then Suez Rajan headed for America. Iran seized 2 tankers near the Strait of Hormuz, including one with cargo for major U.S. oil company Chevron Corp. In July, the top commander of the Revolutionary Guard's naval arm threatened further action against anyone offloading the Suez Rajan, with state media linking the recent seizures to the cargo's fate. Since the collapse of Iran's nuclear deal, waters around the strait have seen a series of ship seizures by Iran, as well as assaults targeting shipping that the U.S. Navy has blamed on Tehran.
This post received a score of 4,000, with an upvote ratio of 97%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
I heard it's US, or was its ownership disputed? Tanker, isn't that kinda escalates the entire ME situation? Or it's nothing?
It's Marshall Islands flagged. So not legally an act of war against anyone but the Marshall Islands, which I'm sure a fleet of jet skis is en route. Companies flag there in order to avoid regulations in exchange for not being protected by anyone that matters, so like, they're getting what they're paying for.
Not quite part of the US, but you can't get much closer. After gaining military control of the Marshall Islands from Japan in 1944, the U.S. assumed administrative control of the Marshall Islands under United Nations auspices as part of the Trust Territory of the Pacific Islands following the end of World War II. The Marshall Islands signed a Compact of Free Association with the United States in 1983 and gained independence.
It's still not American. Close but no cigar. There's a reason merchant vessels all register under these lowbrow countries. It's to skirt any laws and regulations of first world countries.
Close enough that the US could use it as a reason for escalation if it wanted to, but not so close that it has to.
I mean, USA doesn't need some Article 5 type reason. This isn't WW2. If they wanted to go to war, they simply would at this point. It's not like Iran is a friendly, neutral country. They see it in their best interest not to.
Technically, countries need a casus belli to go to war. The trick is you can come up with flimsy reasons to do so. Some sketchy evidence regarding WMDs or something like that is all it takes. Seizing the tanker of an allied country that flags the ships for a lot of your shipping, paralyzing international trade, is a legitimate casus belli, but also isn't one that is going to necessarily drive the American public to demand it.
Greater than the trick is you can come up with flimsy reasons to do so. Some sketchy evidence regarding WMDs or something like that is all it takes. Exactly. And Iran is not some benign neutral country. A reason could be made if wanted.
We've had one maritime choke point being pinched, but what about a second choke point?
I don't think he knows about second choke point, Pip.
I don't know, Ayatollah. If I take one more step, it'll be the closest to total annihilation that I've ever been before.
Putin desperate to try to get the US to bite somewhere else around the globe to distract the world from Ukraine.
Occupy the West with Hamas and these type of attacks to draw attention away from the Ukraine. In a few weeks there will be something else going on somewhere else. Putin will continue to stress test the world's tolerance of his bullshit with the hope of sowing discord through the West. Russia working with Iran, North Korea, among others, and further down the list sitting quietly in back is probably China.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.